Hey guys, welcome to another episode of a ranking of my favorite albums, where I go from my least favorite to my favorite. Band I really excited about doing. The name of the band is Testament. Pretty much like their entire catalog. You know, even the stuff at the bottom, well, maybe not so much, but for the most part, pretty good, solid band. They started off as a Legacy. The original name of the band was Legacy, with Steve Souza Zetro, who of course went on to join Exodus after they fired Paul Baloff, of course, who did the Bonded by Blood album. But really good band. Seen them live multiple times. They got a really, really good catalog. They went through a little period there in the early 90s, mid 90s. I kind of actually quit listening to them for a while, but other than that, they got some really solid stuff. And actually, their new stuff, I actually like probably just as much as the stuff they did when they first came out, which is very unusual. Usually, as a band, have been together for a while, their releases, more times than not, get a little weaker. But not for this band. I think their last few releases are just killer. But I'm gonna go from my least favorite to my favorite. I own them all but two. They've released 12 studio albums, and again, like I said, pretty solid. Everything they've released except for the bottom. And the bottom one I don't own. It's called The Ritual. The last album to feature Alex Skolnick for many, many years, and very last album to feature Louis Clemente, I think you pronounced it, the original drummer. Nothing really memorable in this album to me. By far the most commercial sounding album they ever released. Even the album before, a couple albums before that, I just think they were heading in a direction I wasn't interested in, and I listened to it the other day, and it still does nothing for me, absolutely nothing really. Do I think it's horrible now that I'm older? I don't know about horrible, but it's definitely my least favorite Testament album, and that is number 12, The Ritual. Coming in at number 11 is an album called Demonic. Totally different sound for this band. By this point, they were kind of at an all-time low as far as their success. The only two original members were Eric Peterson and Chuck Billy, who've been in the band the entire career of this band. I don't dislike this album. I love Demonic Refusal, just killer song, but it's kind of almost sounds like a death metal album. His vocals are very death metal sounding. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Really heavy. Some of the songs aren't as memorable to me. Derek Ramirez is on here, actually, who actually formed the Legacy with his cousins with Eric Peterson, the guitarist, and he actually returns to this. He had left the band before they released the first album. But he plays bass on this album, I believe, and the first album to feature Gene Hoglan. But number 11, and again, I don't dislike this album, is Demonic. Coming in at number 10 is an album that a lot of people would have a real high. This album has never done anything for me, and I remember when it came out. Practice What You Preach. It's kind of like the Black Album. When Metallica released the Black Album, I was like, what is this? You do the Legacy and the New Order and then come out with this. I don't think it's horrible, but there's nothing really memorable in here to me. I remember when they did that song, The Ballad, and they had a video for it, and they used to show it. This, they're commercially, they were the most successful ever. This is the biggest the band ever was when this album came out, but this album did nothing for me. I remember that video though for The Ballad. Oh my God, it's cringy. I guess they were trying to be like a hair metal band or something almost, and never cared for the song. Very, let's get on the radio or something. I don't know. I just was a little shocked when I heard the album. And actually, again, I quit listening to this band for many, many years after this album. As time went on, I don't hate the album, but I definitely don't think it's very memorable. Not very memorable tracks on here, but and that's number 10 is Practice What You Preach. Coming in at number 9 is an album that I don't own either, unfortunately, but actually, as I've gotten older, I actually kind of like this album. It's called Souls of Black. It came out after Practice What You Preach. Actually, some pretty good songs on here. I heard it was rushed. They were going to try to do a tour with Priest. So I think from the record label, totally different times, they were told they had to hurry up and release a new album, and that was called Souls of Black. Actually, I'm not crazy about that album. I actually don't think it's got some good songs. I love the song, actually. It's probably the slowest song on the album. I think the Legacy, decent song. The title track's good. There's two or three other good tracks on there. Definitely not one of my favorites, but it's actually, with time, it's grown on me a little bit. It's called Souls of Black, and that's number 9. Number 8 is Brotherhood of the Snake. Second to last album they put out, came out in 2016. I mean, you got Gene Hoglan, just a really good lineup. After Greg Christian left the band, second album to feature just an awesome bass player on here. Forgive me, I don't remember his name, but I'm gonna have to get his name because he used to be in the band Sadist. Just killer. Steve DiGiorgio, man, that guy rips. But good album. Really good lineup of the band. I just found out recently Gene Hoglan's no longer in the band now, but good solid album. Probably my least favorite since the return of Alex Skolnick, but good album though. Number 8 is Brother of the Snake. The rest of these I love, love, really good. And it was hard for me to rank actually these top 7. I knew what my top 5 were, but I had to go back and forth in my head because these are all really good, solid albums. I don't think there's a bad track on the rest of these albums, really. But number 7 today, anyway, is Dark Roots of the Earth. Really good album cover, too. Really good, solid album. True American Hate's a great song. Cold Embrace is killer. Just a really, really good album. Again, I think, man, their last few releases might be some of the best stuff they've ever put out, in my opinion, anyway. Just really good stuff. Number 7, Dark Roots of the Earth. Coming in number 6 is the first album to not feature Alex Skolnick. He had left the band. They brought in a cat named James Murphy. He played with the band Death. He played Obituary as well too. Really good album. I remember I'd quit listening to this band for many years. They did Practice What You Preach and The Ritual and all that. I was kind of on to other things, but I was a lot younger then too. But I remember when I heard this, it blew me away. I think the song was Dogface Gods, and that is Low. Really good, solid album, man. This is some really good stuff on here. Kind of returned the form. After they did this, even The Gathering on, they've kind of got their own unique sound now where they've actually, to me, gotten better. But really good album. Of course, it didn't really do anything. This is, I think, a lot of product with a lot of bands. When grunge hit, a lot of metal just kind of faltered and went under. But, this is a really good album. Got me back into the band for sure. That's number 6 is Low. Coming in number 5 is the return of Alex Skolnick. I think Greg Christian had been out of the band for a minute. Really, really good album. I think they had been almost a decade before they released an album. They kind of were in a lull. Chuck Billig had cancer. Looked like the band was probably done, and then they decided to get back together after The Gathering, and then they did this album here. Alex Skolnick, just really good album. And that is The Formation of Damnation. You see that album cover here with the glare, but the More Than Meets the Eye, The Formation of Damnation, The Persecuted Won't Forget is one of my favorite Testament songs. Just a really, really good, solid song. Killing Season. It's hard to rank these, man, because these are all pretty damn good albums if you like thrash metal, speed metal, which I do. Number 5 is The Formation of Damnation. Coming in number 4 is their latest release, which, it's a shame it came out when it did because, they're not touring to support the album. A lot of bands aren't touring now for obvious reasons, but just a great album. I don't think a lot of, it's a shame. I guess they're going to try to go out on tour again this year. Who knows? But it's Titans of Creation. The last release. I love this album. I almost put it up a little higher because I've listened to the hell out of this. I still do listen to it a lot. I was at the gym the other day and just, man, I'm like, God, this is so good. Children with Next Level, World War III, Dreamer Deceiver, Symptoms is killer. You got The Healers, Curse of Osiris. Just a really, really, really great album. And that is number 4, which I feel bad putting it up so low because it great album. It could go up a little higher, actually. That is Titans of Creation. Coming in at number 3 is another album I just, the older I get, I appreciate it more and more. It's heavy as hell. The only album to feature Dave Lombardo, which I thought was a good fit. I wish, with Gene Hoglan being out of the band again now, I wish he would rejoin the band. He's no longer in Slayer, and Slayer's obviously done anyway. But I thought it was a good fit with the band, and not a good song, not a bad song, excuse me, on this album, and that is The Gathering. I love this album, man. I play the shit. I still play it. I still play it a good bit. I mean, DNR, Down for Life, Eyes of Wrath, Legions of the Dead, Riding the Snake. Yeah, it's just some really good stuff on here. Oh my gosh, great album. I mean, number 3, I know a lot of people wouldn't have it this high. I could really care less, but I mean, number 3 is The Gathering for me anyway. Well, on the top 2 are always probably going to be my top 2, even though I almost had The Gathering in front of this one here, but I mean, I remember when these 2 albums came out. I mean, they're both insanely good. It's The New Order. Second release from the band. Really, really good album. I mean, nothing ever didn't sound anything quite like it when it came out. Really good. A lot of great guitar work, of course. I mean, something I really brought up, Eric Peterson. Everybody talks about Alex Gold. I mean, Eric Peterson is one hell of a guitar player. Great riff writer. Really good album, though. Their second release, The New Order. I mean, you got Trial by Fire, Into the Pit, The Preacher. I don't usually like when a metal band does a remake of a cover, but actually Nobody's Fault. That Aerosmith tune's cool. Day of Reckoning, just a great album. Number 2 is The New Order. And of course, number 1 is just awesome. I saw them do this live in their entirety, the whole album, because there's not a bad track on here. And that is The Legacy, the original name of the band. So they ended up calling themselves Testament, but they called this their first album The Legacy. Most of this was written with Zatro, Steve Souza, of course, he went on to Exodus, but some really good stuff on here. I mean, not a bad song on the album. Over the Wall, The Haunting, Burnt Offerings, Raging Waters, Curse of the Legions of Death, Kotlad, First Strike is Deadly, Do or Die, Alone in the Dark, Apocalyptic City. For me, anyway, I love this album, still love this album. I mean, just a good, solid album. Number 1 is The Legacy. So I'll go back real quick. Number 1 is The Legacy. Number 2, The New Order. Number 3, The Gathering. Number 4, Titans of Creation. Number 5, The Formation of Damnation. Number 6, Low. Number 7, The Dark Roots of the Earth. Number 8, Brotherhood of the Snake. Number 9, Souls of Black. Number 10, Practice What You Preach. Number 11, Demonic. And number 12 is The Ritual. And real quick, I mean, love this album here. It doesn't have Skolnick on here, but I mean, there's some really, really killer songs on here, and a lot of James Murphy's playing guitar, I believe, but they redo some songs at the back here. The Legacy and Trail of Tears are acoustics, and usually I wouldn't like it, but I think they do a hell of a job with it. But great live album too. I like a lot of their live stuff. I mean, the Dark Roots of the Earth tour, stuff worth checking out too. Live in London when they got back together with the original lineup and did some gigs in Europe. Definitely worth checking out as well. Well, thanks guys for checking it out. I'm really enjoying this. This is fun. I'm gonna have some buddies come on, hopefully do Exodus and Megadeth with me, and gonna do another one with Rachel. Probably do Jimi Hendrix next or something. But if you like what you see, please hit like and subscribe. I mean, this is new and I'm not getting a lot of views, but I wasn't expecting to. That's all good. I'm just doing this for fun anyway. And the people that do watch it seem to enjoy it, so that's cool by me, man. That's the only reason why I'm doing this, for fun, because I love this kind of stuff. I love music, obviously. So please, but hit like and subscribe. I almost forgot to say that, and Rachel's like, you need to hit like and say like and subscribe. But if you like it, please do. Hell, who knows what I'm gonna do next? I'm probably doing Exodus next. Who knows though? I mean, that could change. But thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon. See ya later.